Ever get the feeling you're being watched online? It's data brokers. They collect your personal info, your browsing habits, where you live, and who you're related to, and then sell it to the highest bidder. Aura helps stop that. Aura automatically removes your personal info from data broker sites and keeps it off. It also monitors the dark web, protects your devices, alerts you to real-time threats, and more. Start your free trial at aura.com/listen. That's AURA.com/listen for your free trial.
If you love entertainment, current events, and Hollywood, don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today we have a special guest.
Pamela Edwards McClafferty.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I love going back to the beginning. I always say the beginning charts our trajectory in life. Everything that we do, our little habits that we have when we're kids kind of follow us into our adulthood. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. What was that like? And have you always been kind of into music? And when did that begin?
It began early because my parents were they were interested and curious about the world travelers, into music, history. They were scholars and attorneys and art lovers, and they were very, very interested in we children learning as much about life and being as curious about life as possible. So I began singing at 11. I didn't realize that I had a gift for that, but I was told I did. And I ended up becoming friends with Alfred Newman, who was a composer, and various people who were trying to guard me and make sure that I learned my craft correctly. And I ended up at the Civic Light Opera scholarships, and I toured Europe and in a youth chorale, went behind the Iron Curtain, which influenced my whole life, and ended up through those experiences similar to what you're doing now. I think you're just wonderful with your curiosity and the way you are exploring so many creative avenues.
Thank you.
Yeah, really nice. By going behind the Iron Curtain and going to New York for the first time when I was a teenager, it ended up influencing my life as to what I'm actually, my first novel had something to do with that. And now a musical that I'm doing has everything to do with being behind the Iron Curtain and seeing how that worked and what's going on in the world today. It's all very interesting how the curiosity and the exploration of the world and its people can create such a creative process in one, if they so desire. That's the whole point.
I love that. I love that. Curiosity. I find if you have that, I find I always been very curious little kid, and it hasn't stopped. I'm still very curious. I just think it, how we all connected in a way. I find it very interesting. Tell me a little bit about your amazing song, Soldiers Not Forgotten. I honestly played it and was just blown away. It was just so beautiful. And my dad is also a veteran as well.
Oh.
My brother is in the Air Force at the very moment right now. So very much like, oh, I love this. This is so beautiful. What inspired this song?
Well, several things. Certainly my father and my husband's father were World War II veterans.
Amazing.
And saw saw a lot of theater there, war, and fought. That had a lot to do with it, and he has passed away in the last few years. And that I wrote this song for him lyric-wise several years ago.
Mm.
And then I saw that there were things going on with soldiers, veterans. They seemed a bit upset about the way things were being handled recently. And I thought I wasn't going to put this out until Veterans Day. And then I decided I'm going to do it now, and not only do it for Memorial Day, release it, but it's really a song that is, it doesn't have a time, because it's
Yes.
about the men and women who have served and what they go through, and maybe what people don't think about. How are they? How are our soldiers, our sailors,
Yeah.
when they take their uniforms off and they become
Yes.
civilians? What happens? Do their memories subside? No. What happens to them? And do people think about how extraordinary and what courage some need to have after going through all they have gone through?
Mm.
It's so it became something important to me to do right now, because I'm very interested in people. In my heart, I just want people to have a deep respect for people coming back from war, and people having gone through all they've gone through.
Oh, yeah.
It's important, you know?
Absolutely. And I love what you said. It is timeless. It's one of those songs that, it could play forever and anytime, because it's that important. I mean, the the brave soldiers and the brave people that go out and, fight for our country, fight for our freedom is, it's such a noble and amazing thing, honestly.
It is. It is, and I will say that there are a lot of soldiers in our country, who are, um, who are not recognized,
Yes,
and there are a lot of homeless soldiers right now, which is really distressing.
really sad.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
Yes, yes. And I love that you're using your gift to, be a part of, move the movement forward, because I think that we all have gifts and talents, and, you know, whether it's telling a story or blessing someone with your beautiful voice, um, it all matters at the end of the day, you know. But yeah, you're right. There's so much work to be done, in that, on that topic of just veterans and soldiers that are not being taken care of after they leave and go back to, um, um, life outside of the military. I've seen a few people, and it has definitely prompted me to want to talk to more soldiers and to do a documentary about it, because it's a very alarming problem, honestly, and hopefully it does change over time.
That's a great idea, to do a documentary on it. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Was there any particular story or emotion from your father that stayed with you while writing these lyrics?
The most profound statement was his silence.
Mm,
He didn't
right.
talk about it.
Wow.
So that led me to, you can look at photos of battlefields. You can look at the soldiers' eyes. You can look at, you can read.
Mm,
You can start putting yourself into their bodies almost, and think about what it's like to come back when you have been, and I know you've experienced this too. You come back home
mm,
having been somewhere else, and you might have gone through a very stressful time or a very unusual time, and you come back to home and you think you're safe there, and then something happens. There's a sound, there's a smell, there's something that triggers memories in your mind about what's happened before. And all of those different thoughts and patterns and ways that people react, you know, I could only imagine. I've never gone through that particular type of situation, life and death. You know, is so astounding and has such courage and bravery to it that you know, it's your imagination. It was my imagination and what my dad was like and what my husband's dad was like. They were, you know, they were from the great generation, and they were an incredible two human beings, believe me.
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for their service.
Yeah, and your family as well. My God.
That's
great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to lay down your life for someone else. It's very, you know, it's like a lot of people couldn't do it. It's very much like you know, you really have to have a heart for, you know, a big heart for the world. How did it feel to see Mark's father cry after reading your lyrics for the
Oh
first
my
time?
God. It made me cry because I didn't know. I I I tried my very best to express what they were not.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how they would respond. And both of them, uh, my father as well, were um, they had real emotions because of it. And I also I want to share something with you that Eisenhower said. You know, there are five-star generals that are only in our services. And the one thing he said is, which really got me, he said, because no man is really a man who has lost out of himself all of the boy. I want to speak first of the dreams of the barefoot boy, meaning himself. He realized that at being at war, you lose the inspiration, the imagination, the wonder of life itself. The boy leaves you, and he wanted his soldiers coming home to have that reborn in them again as well. He didn't want them to lose that because they had been at war. And I would say Schwarzkopf, Eisenhower, and Bradley, these well, five-star, not Schwarzkopf, but Eisenhower and Bradley especially, were quite extraordinary in wanting their soldiers to come back and help them be healed, you know, they knew the toll it took on men and women.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, it's interesting because I love talking to my father, you know, now about just things that he saw in you know, in when he was in the army. And you know, it was so different back then. But you know, it kind of scares me now with everything that's going on in the world.
Yes,
Like what's gonna happen next, you know, you know, but we can only pray and pray for the people that are, you know, fighting for us
that's
now.
right.
Yeah.
And they certainly are. There's the Ukrainians, and I will say it right out, we are total supporters of the Ukrainians,
Yeah.
and we think they're such brave and wonderful people. And they are fighting for us. They are definitely fighting for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love the collaboration on this song. I mean, the how did the collaboration with Stanley Clarke during influence the creation of this ballad? Because I was just like, wow, whose voice is that? It's like
Oh,
it was just so beautifully meshed and wow, just
well,
gorgeous.
yeah, I'll tell you what, it was the Stanley and I have written a musical called Artland. And in Artland there is a battle,
Mm.
uh, which I can't get into too much because it's out in the marketplace right now. But
Right, right.
but I'm not going to be blurting the whole thing out right now. But uh, it was it was for my father that I thought about it, and for my husband's father. This, you end up drawing on your experiences, and they end up setting forth a certain vehicle for you to create at times.
Mhm.
And they were instrumental in these words starting to come out, these lyrics. And Stanley is such a wonderful collaborator, and he inspired me even to create music, which I hadn't really thought about,
Mhm.
but I had had a background in for several years before I started uh, writing books and designing clothes and becoming a producer, all
Yeah.
those different. But he was instrumental in asking me, hey, how would you feel this should go, and this and this and this. So he would be on the road and I would come up with a few things, and he would obviously do a much better job than I. But I did a couple of songs,
Yeah.
and this was one of them. And it it I I did one other song, it was called Reflections last year, which had to do with children and looking into the eyes of children.
Mm.
And I only used a piano and strings and a cello.
Wow.
And this song was absolutely the same. Lane Roy, who was one of the singers on The Voice, it has this incredible voice. He had the same feel as in Reflections, and I love the idea that this be very, very simple and have the same piano, and it was actually a cello, and that was it.
Wow.
In Soldiers Not Forgot, because what I thought was the soldiers deserved the respect of the
Mhm.
word rather than a lot of accompaniment. It had
Yes.
to be their song.
Yes.
So that's how it came about. And Lane, who has a few relatives in the military as well, was deeply affected by the song, and it shows in his rendition of the song, in him singing it. He did a beautiful job.
Oh yeah. Just beautiful. Like,
Yeah,
excellent, excellent, beautiful work.
he
Um,
did.
yeah.
And Terzel Tong was the pianist and the cellist, and he did a gorgeous job too. He did a
Yes.
beautiful job.
So good. Like I just find it like when working with really talented and creative people, I mean, it's just such a masterpiece of work. I was like, wow. Honestly, I was so moved. I got a little emotional listening to it. I was like, this is beautiful.
Oh,
Just
thank
so
you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. Um, how do you hope this song will help, open the conversation around the PTSD and mental health in veterans?
I I'm I don't know. I
Yeah.
only know that it's such a personal question to people who are listening to it rather than to me,
Yeah.
I not say I would be presumptuous to say that I would know or would wish it did whatever, because I am a vehicle to put it out only,
Yeah.
and people have to respond. That's the way I truly feel about it, because I have a deep respect for everyone who is going through that particular process right now, and any other process that has memories that sort of captivate and maybe keep them from their dreams and things they need to do in life. So I can only say I put out a rendition that I hope, or an interpretation that I hope will speak to you.
Yeah, you did. You did. In spades.
Oh, good. That's great. That's
Absolutely.
great. Well,
Absolutely.
you've done that too. I will say that. I've only begun looking at some of your work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Were there any veterans you spoke to, like, while, directly while crafting this song, or at
No,
all? Okay, just
no.
curious.
Although I know, I have friends, family friends for years, Navy SEALs, Air Force, Navy,
Nice.
uh, all of that. But no, I just thought about them as I was writing it. I didn't want to infringe. I just wanted to put an interpretation or an expression of how I felt about them.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to my father about that, about just, my dad was saying, like, it's really unfortunate, a lot of people who are in the army, that who get out and go back to, just normal every day-to-day life. It's really hard to kind of get acclimated back into it, and then you're just hoping for the support, and for people that who do have PTSD. Like, I have a few friends that are out and about, and that are doing, kind of coping with it now. But it's really sad to hear some of the stories of, like, there's no support, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, something has to be done to make sure these soldiers are taken care of. So I do hope this song, and not only this, but maybe through this conversation, that it just opens up more conversations too, you know
Oh, that's
for
beautiful.
help.
Well, I will say that I would be honored if it did and it helped anyone that listened to it. I would be honored, truly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a fun question, and I love asking this question to every guest, and there is no wrong answer, I promise.
Okay.
the, the three levels of influence: money, power, and respect. And if you can choose only one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
Um, God, that's an interesting question. It's certainly not the money and it's not the power. And it's, you know, I I like myself. I don't really need other people's respect. If they
Same.
want
I
to
feel the
do it,
same. I feel exactly the same.
good, good. I mean, I tell you, when when you go through life enough, there are going to be people who are going to give you a hard time no matter what, especially if you are focused and you really love what you do and your purpose. Because, basically, if you would put purpose in there, I would have said, I love that, because the purpose of what I'm doing and the expression of it is all important to me. The process of the
Mm,
creative process is the most important thing to me in the world
mm.
than any other.
I love that answer. So purpose. Okay. Have
It's
you?
actually the process, I'd say. The
Yeah.
purpose of the process. Please.
Would you say you're living your purpose?
I live in my process. I
Mm,
live in it.
the
Yes,
process. I love
I do.
that.
I have to live there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd go crazy. Uh, it's very important to be there, and part of that process has to do, as you and I both, I think, are simpatico on, is the curiosity. All of the world is open to you when you go through, and the process of your creating is
Mhm.
all inspiring on everything you see and everything you experience.
I love that. I love how you said that. I'm like, yes. Um, is do you have any, like, artists that say for instance, in a perfect world, if you could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Um, that's interesting because I love Tupac.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I
Nice.
do. I do. There, I'm not sure that I can answer that question. I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure who it would be. I like I like artists of words. That is my big thing, I think. My
Mm.
I love words, and I love the way they I love Eminem, the way he
Uh-huh.
construct uh his, I call it poetry, lyric, whatever you want to call it. I like meaningful lyric that is not only meaningful lyric, but that pairs up with a beautiful melody sometimes. And U2 does that.
Oh
When you
yeah.
really listen to the lyric, many times the music seems joyful or beautiful or whatever, and it is a very sad lyric that comes with it, which is
Yes.
also very interesting, you know. So, but I don't, I'm not sure who that would be. I'm not sure who I would be around. I guess I'm sort of a loner.
Oh,
I
I
don't
like
know.
that. I like that. I mean, hey, great answer. Um, I love that. Did you create any visual elements to this song yet? Did you like a music video or are you
Oh,
thinking about
no,
making
but
some?
yes, I think that would be
Ooh,
very important. I do. And I also am interested in doing this song and Shades of Black and White, which is another song that my partner Mark and I, my husband, we produced.
nice.
Shades of Black and White is also another one. I think they're important songs uh, in that, well, they're from my heart. I will say that.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you could talk to me about it if you want. I'd love it.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, I think visuals are just, it's interesting. I used to do a lot of music videos before I got into film. Um, so when I first moved to Los Angeles, I started working for this company doing a lot of music videos, and that was a fun world, but I just feel like music videos at the time was just kind of lacking the creativity. Because I love like kind of just doing things that are off the beaten path versus, you know,
I
um,
totally understand. Totally. Believe me.
and then it just prompted me to make wanted to get more into narrative and films world because I feel like films are, I don't know, visuals like you can incorporate. I like to just kind of tell a story, and I feel like this song could just oof visually. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
But
that's beautiful. Thank you for that.
absolutely, absolutely. Why do you think? And this is just just out of curiosity. Do you feel like because I think a lot of people choose silence, which is I think, and I think it's a universal kind of thing. I've noticed, if we can even take it back to the entertainment world as a whole, like I feel like a lot of, with a lot of the Me Too movement, the women that were quiet for so many years when a lot of people in the industry knew that this very problem was happening and still is happening, but they chose silence. Why do you think a lot of people choose silence versus coming out and talking about things?
Um, it's a good question, and there are probably multiple answers for every single person.
Yeah.
And I would hate to pigeonhole somebody. I will say that there has to be something in one's heart that
Mm,
nags them and in their brain. It's a thought and heart, mind and heart and soul that ultimately touches them in such a way that they have no choice,
I see.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wonder. sometimes like I see all these movements happening,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the entertainment world, and people, the actor strike when that was happening. Oh my gosh, that was felt like it was forever. And I was like, I mean, a lot of actors knew that this problem existed, and it was just like, well, why now? Versus when there's other actors who came before us who also
Yeah.
have that issue. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like, I guess, too, maybe it could be silence of like people take silence because of like job positions, maybe not being able to get hired. And I mean, I've had a situation that kind of was like a casting couch situation when I first started in the industry, when I was acting at the time. And then I was startled because I was like surprised that this, you hear about these things, but when it happens to you, it's like, oh, wow, this really actually is real. um,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't know what to do at the time, because I felt like I was so green, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt like who would believe me?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
then, of course, then there's a lot of women who, and not just women, but men as well, that also kind of get kind of you kind of shrink, and I think that's a part of the silence. And I feel like that's too with even soldiers. I feel like a lot of them, it's like you want to honor your country, but then there are just certain people in certain positions of power that abuse it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
And
know.
what as an artist, I do know, and I could say to you, the process of incorporating it into your art and exposing it is not a bad one.
Yeah,
And one that I think a lot of artists do if they are unclear as to what other mechanisms to use. And that is important. And whether it's other things like things that are happening in our society today, incidents and I don't even know what you want to call all the disruption we're going through right now, but
yeah,
um, there are interpretations of it. There are ways in which to express yourself, and there are like-minded people amongst us
yeah,
uh, who can help if somebody so desires. There, you just have to explore a bit, and you can find it, I'm sure, which is
absolutely,
important, right? Very important.
absolutely important.
Yeah.
Are you planning on performing this song, or have you done it yet at any like
Oh,
veterans events or
well,
concerts?
Lane will be doing that, not I, but yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, he would, I know he would be delighted. He is on a tour right now in Europe, but he will be back, and I would love to have him do whatever he wants to do, believe me. I think he's just wonderful. So yes, absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Um, looking back, what have you learned personally from creating Soldier Not Forgotten? So,
I think it's I think that looking inward and realizing that there are so many people on this earth. You walk through a city and you have no idea what everyone else is going through. And the idea that maybe one of those people that is hurting, you might be able to communicate with through your art. If that's possible, then you have done your job. You have
mm,
gone through the process and helped. And but you don't necessarily know because you're on the street and you don't know all these people that are in your community. You just don't,
mm,
but you hope. So I would say that just exploring that one concept also takes you into other areas of discrimination, of inequities, of uh, exclusion, different things that happen to one, and you hope that you can continue to interpret some form of art that might be of assistance in these areas.
I love that. I love that. You know, there's a lot of people listening to this show, and they love me asking this question to each guest, and I love hearing it. What advice would you give, you know, someone out there that wants to get or use their talent and create and get into this entertainment world?
Don't quit. Be curious. And if one interpretation of your art doesn't work, it doesn't mean another won't. It just means you have to keep trying, and you have to keep communicating, and you have to keep open. And believe it or not, we could go through a zillion examples of all the way back to Casablanca that had 30 rejections, or you could go to all of the different people in our world that have gone through hell. Churchill had a great phrase. He said, "When you're going through hell, keep going."
Yes. Love that. Love that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's important. It's important to, if you have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in it. And I truly believe that someone will listen and someone will see you. And it might take time, but don't give up. Don't give up.
Love that. Don't give up. That's beautiful. What do you outside of music, what inspires you, your art the most? Films, books, people, life experiences, all of it?
Yeah. Well, there's definitely my husband who does. Our love is quite extraordinary.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's really important. And we are very simpatico on a lot of things, just on life in general, definitely.
Beautiful.
And I should say life and people and curiosity, and never turning your back on what might not be becoming, or something that you might not want to see. Look at yourself, look at the world, and go through the process of creating about it. It's important.
Mm-hmm. I just imagine you seem so positive and resilient. Has there ever been, any big challenges in the music industry that you've ever faced, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, well, first of all, I've been in a lot of industries, right?
Yeah.
Whether it was music, as an author, as a producer, as a
Amazing.
fashion designer. But I should say that what I think is the most, well, let's put it this way. Malcolm X said, "Stumbling is not falling."
Ooh,
And
yes.
yeah. And Michael Jordan said, "I've lost almost 300 games, 26 times. I've been entrusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed."
Mm,
Okay.
yes.
So, and my favorite of my dad and mine was Nelson Mandela. He said, "It always seems impossible until it's
It's
done."
done. Yeah.
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 So you see, it's the process.
It's the process. That's
Yes, it,
beautiful. We're always in the process. That's what life is about, right? We're always in process.
that's right.
The
It,
journey is never over until it's over.
that's right. That's absolutely correct.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Where can people find you on social media to follow everything you got going on?
Oh, everywhere.
You're on
In
TikTok? No, just kidding.
I actually am. I finally caved in, much to probably the chagrin of some people, but I am there. And I have we just basically, we have a best-selling novel too. It's called Blue, written by an author, Walter Jones, who recently passed away. He is an African-American author, fantastic book about the Freedom Code, which has to do with not letting people take away your history. Sound familiar? Same thing holds true for, but anyway, TikTok under Pamela Edwards McClafferty, and Spellbound Pictures on Instagram, on Twitter, X, on Facebook, on Tumblr, on WordPress, and my husband, Mark McClafferty, as well. Pamela Edwards McClafferty and Mark McClafferty were on the internet, for sure.
Beautiful. Gosh, it was lovely talking to you.
Oh, it's great talking to you. And I wish you all of the luck in all of your endeavors. You are just doing a great job. You really.
Thank you. I needed to hear that. Sometimes it just feels like, I feel like the Michael Jordan game sometimes. I'm like, oh God. Thank you for that.
Then you hey, once then you when you have that ultimate process that leads to a finished product, then you can look back and you can write about that whole process.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and be very proud of yourself, I might add.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming
welcome.
on and blessing our show. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.